In the early weeks of 2026, an unexpected geopolitical flashpoint emerged in the high Arctic, the remote, wind-swept island of Greenland. Nestled between North America and Europe, this vast territory has become the center of one of the most controversial international debates of our time. What was once a largely symbolic idea, the notion that the United States might acquire Greenland, has exploded into a full-blown diplomatic crisis, raising fundamental questions about national sovereignty, strategic interests, and the future of global alliances. Laying out the claim, the story begins with renewed rhetoric from the U.S. administration. According to statements from the White House, President Donald Trump and senior officials have placed Greenland squarely on the strategic agenda, describing the Arctic island as a national security priority due to its location, resources, and increasing presence of Russian and Chinese activity in the region. Reuters. At official briefings, spokespeople clarified that Washington is exploring a range of options concerning Greenland, including diplomatic negotiations, economic agreements, and, controversially, the use of military force if necessary. While high-level diplomats insist that buying Greenland rather than seizing it is the preferred route, the language of possibility around military options has alarmed the international community. Why Greenland? The strategic Arctic importance. To understand why Greenland has suddenly become such a focus, it's crucial to consider its geography and geopolitical context. Greenland is the world's largest island and an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. Its location near the Arctic Circle places it at a strategic crossroads between North America, Europe, and the rapidly changing Arctic region. Yeni Safak. Beneath its ice-covered surface lie vast deposits of critical minerals and rare earth elements, materials increasingly essential for modern technology, clean energy, and military systems. Meanwhile, the Arctic is opening due to climate change, making navigation, resource access, and military positioning more urgent than ever before. A trigger, Venezuela and escalation. The renewed U.S. focus on Greenland did not emerge in isolation. It followed a dramatic foreign policy action, the U.S. military's capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and the seizure of oil tankers linked to Russia and Venezuela. This operation underscored a more assertive American posture abroad and intensified speculation that Washington was preparing for further bold geopolitical moves. The Guardian. In comments linked to these events, some U.S. officials publicly argued that controlling Greenland was not primarily about resources, but about countering influence from global rivals such as Russia and China in the Arctic. International backlash begins. The international reaction was immediate and forceful. Denmark, the sovereign state responsible for Greenland's defense and foreign affairs, strongly rejected the idea that the United States had any right to take over the island. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen labeled the notion of military coercion as absurd, warning that any attempt to undermine the territory's status would rupture long-standing alliances. Complementing this stance, Greenland's own leadership, led by its prime minister, unequivocally stated that Greenland was not for sale and insisted that any discussion must respect international law and the islanders' wishes. Enough is enough, the prime minister said in a blunt rebuke of aggressive rhetoric, calling for respectful dialogue rather than pressure. European and NATO concerns. Europe's reaction crystallized quickly as well. Leaders from Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Poland, the United Kingdom, and other NATO member states issued a joint declaration asserting that decisions about Greenland's future belonged solely to Denmark and Greenland themselves, not to external powers. European officials warned that even the suggestion of military action against a fellow NATO ally could undermine the alliance's cohesion and post-World War II security architecture. The idea that one member might threaten another, even rhetorically, sent shockwaves through Brussels and capitals across the continent. Diplomacy versus threats, the U.S. position. In response to this outcry, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced plans to meet with Danish officials to discuss Greenland, perhaps signaling an attempt to shift toward diplomacy rather than confrontation. Rubio emphasized that the administration's aim was to negotiate and potentially purchase rights or forms of association, not to launch an invasion. AP News. Yet, White House representatives also reiterated that military involvement remained always an option, a phrase that continued to stoke fears internationally. AP News. Within the United States itself, opinions are divided. Some lawmakers support diplomatic engagement with Denmark, while others criticize the aggressive language surrounding the acquisition. Concerns have been raised that threatening an ally could do more harm than good to U.S. foreign relations and global credibility. Voices from Greenland and Denmark. Crucially, Greenland's leadership has made its position clear. Sovereignty matters more than strategic competition. The Greenlandic Prime Minister's declaration that we are open to dialogue underlines a willingness to talk, but only within frameworks that respect international norms and the island's autonomy. Denmark, meanwhile, argues that existing security cooperation, including expanded U.S. military access to Danish territory, already addresses shared defense concerns. Critics within Denmark and abroad say that annexation would offer little additional benefit, but could destabilize Western alliances. The geopolitical crossroads. As this controversy continues, several key questions dominate global discussion. Can the United States and Denmark find a negotiated solution that respects sovereignty and strategic interests? Will Greenland's population play a more prominent role in shaping its future, perhaps even toward full independence? How might Russia and China react to intensified U.S. interest in the Arctic? And what does this mean for NATO? Can an alliance built on collective defense withstand internal strain? These questions capture not just one territorial dispute, but a broader transformation in international relations, one where old alliances are tested and new power dynamics are evolving before our eyes. Greenland's icy expanse may seem distant and isolated, but the controversies unfolding there are deeply connected to the world's most urgent geopolitical challenges. From Arctic resource competition to the integrity of multinational alliances, the debate over Greenland is more than a territorial dispute. It is a reflection of a global system in flux. As diplomats meet, leaders issue warnings, and local voices call for respect and dialogue, the outcome of this crisis will shape not only Arctic policy, but the very future of international cooperation in a rapidly changing world.